So here today to introduce a new instructor for our DVDs and our online courses. Our new instructor is Jim Closson from Boise, Idaho. Jim and I have known of each other for how many years?
Almost 30 years, I think.
30 years, long time. So Jim is a professional dog trainer in Boise, Idaho. He has a field trial retrieving kennel, am I correct in saying that?
Yeah. TK Hot Retrievers, where we breed field. Sonny is from our kennel. It's working line Labradors.
And it's our first venture into producing hunting dog videos. And historically, I've shied away from being involved in any hunting dog videos because, with no insult meant to anyone, the system, historical system in training hunting dogs is pretty, the best I can say, it's kind of brutal. And it's not the type of training that we like to do. But Jim has been involved with our friend Michael Ellis in California, and Jim's system is compatible with the type of training that we do here at Leerburg. It's compatible with the type of training that Michael does at his school in California. Basically, positive training that have consequences once they learn how to do the exercises for not doing it. Am I correct in saying that? And so we kind of got excited. Jim and I have been talking for quite a while here about producing a course. Our online courses are at the point now where they can get into detailed subjects. In Boise, tell me a little bit about what type of business you have and what you guys do and how many trainers you have and what your goal is there.
Well, we have our breeding program of working retrievers.
Which is?
Yep, Sonny is from that's TK Hot Retrievers. Yeah. And so we'll breed 2 or 3 litters a year. And the primary focus is for hunting dogs. We breed dogs sired by master hunters and field champions and national field champions. So the American field Labrador has a different look. So when you look at Sonny, he doesn't have the blocky Rottweiler-headed, barrel-chested type body. These are working dogs that are designed to hunt and move all day long. Dogs like Sonny can hunt chukars and pheasants and ducks and geese.
Same as German Shepherds. You got your show lines that look one way, the red, highly angulated show dogs, and then you got your working police dogs.
That's right. This is a working dog.
Yeah. Doesn't Michael Ellis have one of your dogs?
He does. He has one, and some of his trainers had one.
Out there, yeah.
Yep.
I didn't mean to cut you off, so go ahead and explain.
And so with the working field Labradors, it's been a passion of mine since I was a kid. I've always had Labs. And as you know, 20, 30 years ago, I competed in Schutzen with German Shepherds, but I've always had a Lab for hunting. As the training started to evolve, and I realized that I could apply some of these, and I won't call them new techniques, they've always been there, but as you start to know better, you do better. We applied some of the science of classical and operant conditioning. I went and spent several times with Michael Ellis at his school, and I was taking that movement of positive reinforcement training and applying it to my gun dogs. And in the beginning, I didn't tell my gun dog friends that I was doing it. I just let the results kind of speak for themselves. And as we watched these puppies develop that were in this marker system, we started seeing some incredible results. We then started applying that to our second business, which is an obedience business. We have a dog obedience business where we employ 10 trainers, and they focus on the science of how the canine brain works, the science of motivation, both classical conditioning and operant conditioning, and when and if you need to add a consequence and what type of consequence. The dog tells us how to train them. We don't train the dog. So one of the limitations of the traditional gun dog training program was the amount of force that was involved. And you would hear it when you're talking to a gun dog trainer or field trial trainer. They would say, well, the dog washed out, the dog washed out. What that meant was they had one system that applied so much pressure or force that the dog couldn't fit within their system, so they got rid of the dog. What we did is we took the science of these motivational-based programs, like from Michael Ellis in particular, and we said, let's let the dog problem solve these, and let's figure out what motivates the dog and what works for that dog. And then with that, we found that our clients who owned the Labrador Retrievers and the Chesapeakes were much more engaged. The results that they were having, and just here in the last few days, getting testimonials from clients, 16-week-old puppies that are so thrilled because they keep calling it a new method, but I think motivation's been around since the 40s and 50s. B.F. Skinner and Ivan Pavlov, and and so we just took the evolution of that and started to apply it into a gun dog program, and the result is going to be the most comprehensive gun dog program on just puppies right now than anyone's ever seen.
So explain, so you're starting with puppies and you're going to, in this course, how far are you taking it? Up to what level?
From 8 weeks to about 5.5 months of age.
Okay.
So laying that strong foundation, developing that muscle memory with those gun dogs to build an eager, active partner that is bold and confident and wants to do the work and engages in the work.
So in Boise, do you take dogs in and train dogs, or?
We do. That's one of our, we have what's called an immersion program, where people who don't have the time, or for some owners that need that extra help in laying the foundation, we'll bring the dog in and lay the foundation for them.
And you do that with puppies too?
With some puppies. Yeah, so with their second set of shots. I like to do private lessons because I like to really teach people and get the owners involved, but sometimes because of scheduling or travel or what have you, they need that extra help, so we will take the dog in and do it for them.
Okay, interesting. And with your trainers, you say you have 10 trainers, so you don't have 10 trainers just teaching hunting dogs?
No. We cover obedience, potty training, behavioral problem solving. We have 2 trainers that are dedicated just to hunting dogs.
Okay, so we have to get videos of this. But at supper the other night, we were talking about, explain how you have these dogs and customers that when they have gone through your program, that you have these walks in the mountains with how many dogs? Off leash?
Off leash, upwards. The largest class we've done is 60 dogs off leash. It's called a foothill trail class. People around Boise will see, and sometimes it might be as small as 20 dogs, but 20 to 60 dogs, and they've evolved into the training where they've gone from puppy preschool through their basics, through their advanced work, and we offer a lot of specialty classes at our training program, and this is one of them, where we encourage the clients to go up in the foothills of Boise to the designated off-leash areas, and we'll take the dogs out and just have a lot of fun. Let them be dogs, but have control. And one of the things we teach them is when they see a jogger or a mountain biker coming, that the dogs go off the trail and they sit, they wait, the mountain biker goes by, and then we have the dogs come back on the trail. And sometimes the dogs are over 100 yards away when they do this. And so the story we're talking about is one time a mountain biker was coming down the hill on a switchback, and the dogs that were out front were a couple of Rottweilers, a St. Bernard named Barney, there was Rocco and Duke, and the mountain biker did not see the owners as he was looking down this way, the dogs coming up the trail this way. Little moment of panic, and when the dogs saw him, they got off the trail and sat. He misnegotiated the turn and he crashed his bike. And I ran up and asked him if he was okay, and all he could do was look at the dogs and say, "How did you do that?"
Yeah. And he was an attorney.
He was an attorney.
And now he's a client.
Yeah, and he has sent, I don't know how many people he's referred to us because he says, "You used to see what they do in the foothills with these dogs."
And when I said, "Do you videotape the fights?" and you said about the fights.
Yeah, we pre-screen the dogs before they're allowed to come up there, so the dogs have to earn the right to come to the specialty class. The owners have to put in the time and the effort. We don't allow any of the aggressive dogs when they come up there. So we make sure the dogs' personalities are compatible, and we do specialty classes for dogs that have issues like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that to me, should have been common sense. You're not going to let a bunch of aggressive, and I won't name any breeds, run. You can't have 60 dogs and 4 dog fights going at one time. That's an impossible deal. Yeah. It's kind of funny because when Jim came here, we found out that we had similar backgrounds. Both of us wanted to be vets, and you started and...
I went to Southern Oregon State University in Ashland, and at the time, this was in the early 90s. I was working with the kennel training police dogs, and all I wanted to do was be a vet. I went up in my junior year, went up for an interview at Oregon State in Corvallis. And Dean Hutton was the dean at Oregon State at the time. During the interview, he asked me if my wife worked. I said, no, she doesn't work, and that intrigued him. And he said, if you don't mind me asking, what does a dog trainer make? And I told him. And he took my folder and he closed it. And he said, young man, if you have the gift to solve problems, you'll never go hungry. And then he gave me a list of students that were graduating, veterinary students were graduating, because you're up there for a couple of days. And he said, talk to these students, find out what they're going to make, come out of vet school. Remember that you won't be able to work full time, you won't be able to train dogs up here, and you're going to rack probably $70,000 to $100,000 in student loans. So as I would meet these students in different areas of the university, I asked them, And I realized that I didn't want to take a pay cut. And I went back home and I walked away from college and decided I was going to train dogs full time. And I don't regret it. It's been the greatest decision of my life.
So I got a different story on how I decided not to be a vet. I worked for a vet when I was in college for 2 years when I was there. And I worked on Saturday and Sunday mornings, and I cleaned dog kennels. And he was the dog pound. My vet was the dog pound. And so I would go out drinking in college on Friday and Saturday night, but I had to be at the dog kennel at 5:30 in the morning. So I'd open it up and I'd go in there and I'd clean all the kennels. And this vet, there was a medical facility in La Crosse, Wisconsin, Gunnarsson Clinic. And at that time, back in the 60s, they were doing a lot of experiments with monkeys and Hodgkin's disease and all of these different diseases of the brain. So they would get these monkeys in there and they would do their surgeries on them and then we would take care of them. So one morning, after a particularly heavy night of drinking, I show up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and the way this building is laid out is there's a hallway and there's rooms off the hallway that have dog kennels in them, like crates and things in them, double stacked, and the dog runs were at the end of the building. So I would go and I'd walk in and I'd stumble down the hallway and flick all the lights on, and I'd go into the dog kennel area and flick the lights on there where the chain link kennel was. So I'm walking down there and I'm flipping all these lights on, and I open up the gate or the door where the chain link is, and the light switch is right there, and I flipped it on, and they had done some brain surgery on an orangutan, and he was right there on the fence trying to grab my hand through the thing. And can you imagine that? I'm very proud of the fact that I didn't pee my pants, but I'll guarantee you I jumped about 5 feet back the other way. I mean, to tell you, that's not why I didn't become a vet. He was, that's just a funny story that me and that vet still laugh at today, but unfortunately that was the dog pound, and on Saturdays we would kill dogs. And I just couldn't deal with it. I mean, we'd go in there and they'd put dogs to sleep, and at the end of the day, there'd be a pile of dead dogs there. And I said, you know what? Life's too short to do that. I want to train dogs. I want to be with dogs and love dogs. I didn't want to kill them. And that's how I decided not to be a vet. And I made the right decision. I've never looked back. I feel sorry for vets that have to do that. But we digress and we move on. So what are the plans for after this online course?
Your son Jeff will be working on a trained retrieve course for gun dogs. We'll be working on more intermittent and transitional work for gun dogs, and be taking it as far as the viewers want to go. Cool. So he'll be taking feedback from the viewers, and we can go as if they want to produce a dog that is a competition hunt test dog, we can take it as far as they want to go with the system.
Cool. So like, you've met my son Jeff, you have kids, and are they dog
I do.
trainers?
I have 4 children, 3 girls and a boy. My 2 oldest daughters are professional dog trainers. One is 25 years old and one is 21. You'll see both of them in this video series with their Labrador puppies. And then I have a 16-year-old son that all he wants to do is hunt. So he has a lab, and I think he's even in some of the videos that we've shot with his dog. And he'll definitely be in the transitional videos where you're actually out in the field and you're putting all the things, the applications into play, and he'll definitely be there.
So we're going to run this as both a self-study course, and for those people that are just looking at it, my basic dog obedience course, which was the first course, went into our online series, has 150 videos in it. I feel I have enough videos in that course. I mean, you're going to have an assignment for the week where you tell them to go out, and I want to see you do this exercise with your dog and submit a little 3-minute video. And you don't have to do it through YouTube. Our computer programmers have written codes, so you just go to one of our web pages and you push a button. When you go to that web page, you push a button that selects a video, and it opens up all the videos on that phone, and you pick the video and you hit upload, and it automatically encodes it and puts it right into the form for the course. And that's so you can comment on it. And other students can look at it and comment on it, and that's how you get interactive work where you have students all over the world able to have interactive relationships with the instructors through the computer. It's a slick deal.
It really is. So coming from Boise, Idaho, where we have Micron PC, we have HP, I'm exposed to a lot of different computer people, and I got to say, when I met one, I was impressed with the staff of people that you have just working on your computer and this programming system. And then to see how easy it is sitting down with your staff and watching how these people can just go from the phone, straight upload a video that I can see, and then during our live chats, I can watch different things, take notes on it, and then give them the troubleshooting tips that they're going to need to get the best out of their dog. And we can do this, I won't say in real time, because during the live chats, when we're watching the video, I will have seen the video before, but I can give them that information, and that's unlike anything.
Well, what's slick about it and what we found, because we started doing the computer coding. I have 7 full-time computer coders and graphics people. And we've been running the courses now for 18 months, so the interactive courses, what's allowed us to do is if we get good student videos in a course, we'll ask the student, is it okay to use this in future courses? And we're able to build really good examples of content. It's working pretty good, and I think the same thing's going to happen in this course too. So cool. I'm excited about this. This is a new road for Leerburg to go down. It's pretty exciting. I think it's going to work.
I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's really going to open up the eyes of the gun dog people where they don't have to rely on those old school training techniques anymore.